Well, this was not the story I thought was going to take over from the weekend. But here we are. Donald Trump had a weird freeze for about 30 to 40 minutes during a rally. You got conservative outlets reporting that it's because you had multiple people faint and they had to just kind of put some music on to kind of, take care of those people. But I've been to concerts. I've been to many events where somebody has fainted in the audience. And I can tell you right now, once medical personnel gets there and they do get them out, they usually continue the event. So this one, from my perspective, and this is my opinion, I do think that Donald Trump saw an opportunity to not take any more questions. I think that he kind of sensed that the event wasn't going very well. And it was one of those things where I was like, oh, it's not that bad. Because I saw like a minor report on it from Twitter last night. I woke up this morning and it's the top story. It's the top story in pretty much every news outlet on YouTube. Like every YouTuber is going after this. And I watched a few videos. I watched Pondering Politics specifically. And I hate to say this because I love Pondering Politics. I think that they do a great job in this space. I think that Josiah is actually one of like the most like what's the word I'm looking for? Pure. I don't want to say pure, but he's doing this for the right reasons, man. I still haven't had my coffee yet, so we'll get to that. But I think that Josiah is one of the best people in this space. But I think he was being a little unfair because the way that he was characterizing it right off the bat was that it was just another blunder from Donald Trump and that it was his brain malfunctioning. And it was, I kind of, as much as I would love to believe that just that narrative, too many left-wing publications are really focusing on just specifically on that without mentioning that somebody had fainted in the crowd, which I'm sorry. I know that this is giving too much credit, but it is what happened. And you can't sit there and report like, oh, he was just he was standing around for 40 minutes with doing this to the YMCA. And no, because there was more than one person that fainted too. But Majority Report was doing some pretty good coverage about this. So I decided, why not take a peek in with them real quick. And also, I wanted to take a look at this. So, here we go. This is the full report that I got. Again, the wrap, I'm not sure. Like, this is why anybody watching with Incogni, or not Incogni, what's the other one? Although, Incogni, hey, could use some protection. Grounded News. Hey, could totally use a sponsorship here. So give me 1 second. Bring myself back. Oh, man. So, guys, get this shit. This is how they're reporting it. If you had Donald Trump dancing instead of answering questions on your 2024 bingo card, get your stamper out. Get your stamper ready. Well, I wouldn't say bingo card, man. Could you imagine that if you took like an over-under on something like that? Oh, man, you'd be rich. Although, a lot of us it's like, nah, he's a weird dude. He'll do some weird shit, so I don't know. Trump was only a half hour into the town hall event before being interrupted by a medical emergency. Though Trump tried to continue the event after it settled down, he was interrupted again after another medical emergency and yet another audience member passed out. That's when the former president decided to take matters into his own hands. Rather than continuing answering questions, Trump played his campaign playlist for roughly 30 minutes. During the time he bobbed along to the music. What was on the playlist? The YMCA. I had to. Hallelujah? Really? That's interesting. Richmond, north of Richmond. James Brown. It's a man's world. Of course he would play that. Just got to put that one together. Memory. He put. Yeah. And from memory from the Broadway play Cats. I love cats. Even though they're eating them, I love the cats. Cat people. They're totally great people. Knew them from the 90s. The event took place at the Greater Philadelphia Expo in Oaks, PA, where Trump was aided by South Dakota Governor Christy G. Thanks to a round of friendly audience questions, Trump touched on familiar topics like the economy, immigration, before he was interrupted. Okay. So I feel like we did our due diligence with this one. Now,
in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, this is in Oaks, Pennsylvania, too. This isn't on the sheet, but this is kind of setting it off before they started.
He's there with Christy G, probably wishing, like, I should have picked her, but she's a girl. And this is coming after, so he may be a little sensitive to this because this is coming after, apparently he did a rally in Coachella. We'll play a clip from that. And not the actual Coachella, like Coachella adjacent, where I guess you don't have to pay as much. And he people passed out at that rally because it was so hot, and then they stranded like all the people out in the desert.
Can somebody answer this? Because I don't know. So like the Coachella Valley, what he's saying right there, do you have to is there two different venues and you can rent one, like the main Coachella or I don't know. I'm one of those people. I'm sure there's somebody out there that thinks Lollapalooza is like the park that it's played in.
And
maybe not.
Which happened.
He did that
before.
in 2020 with Omaha. In Omaha, do you remember?
When it was cold.
Because they're cheaping out on the buses to take
100%.
people from the parking lots.
it's cheaper if we do it one way, right? Okay, let's just do that. And so he's sensitive.
And as somebody who goes to concerts and things like that, I freak out sometimes when they kind of have to bus us from, the parking lot to the venue, because I worry about stuff like this specifically because after I saw what happened then, I actually, in September, I went to a festival that did just that. And I'll tell you what, this was on my mind.
To people passing out. And apparently multiple people fainted at the heat of this rally. And then he decided, I'm make
done now.
lemons. Take lemonade and make lemons.
Help us.
And we can spend a little more time.
Done.
Yes.
Personally, I enjoy this. We lose weight. No, you lose weight. We could do this, lose 4 or 5 pounds. It's okay with me.
Kamala Harris is.
But some people have been waiting here for 2 days
What'd she say about Kamala Harris?
for this. So it's a little bit tough. It's a little bit tough, but they're going to try and get those doors open.
Yes.
And I don't know whose building this is, but if they had air conditioning, do you see any air conditioning?
They probably can't afford it, sir, in this economy.
That's right. They
Pause
don't
it for
want
a
to
second.
Holy shit, I think that's the first time I've ever heard Donald Trump laugh.
Now, I think probably everybody knows this, but they could afford it if they could count on the people renting their facility to pay them. There is a story out today that the city of Minneapolis is owed $200,000 by Donald Trump. And we've talked about this in the past. The reason why Trump was so insistent on having outdoor rallies for the most part was because there's only so many places amongst these swing states that you're going to go.
Yep.
And over the course of the past 2 elections, the Trump campaign has burned so many of these locations by not paying them that they don't let him in anymore. And so he's got to go to outside places where the fees are much less.
Yes.
And he's just paying vendors. He's not paying for a facility.
And also, the security is much less. But
that's the point. Is that that's why they had begged him not to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, out into that field, but his campaign was like, we have no other place to go because they won't let us in the facilities here. So he's at a place, and they probably won't turn on the air conditioning because you don't trust him.
And this is verified, by the way. This isn't just left-wing speculation. You can go and check the receipts. You can call these townships. This is public information. So him owing that much money, think of this. That's not just to one venue. He owes about that same amount of money to almost every, not every venue, but most of the venues that were indoor venues that he hit in the 2020 campaign. He didn't pay
them to pay for it.
We didn't pay for the air conditioning package.
Yeah, and so multiple
when
people...
economies are bad, people don't want to make more money. What?
It doesn't make any sense. Chrissy Noem's just trying to get him on track, but that was
What happened? He did the Carrier deal. Doesn't he have hookups at Carrier? You know, the air conditioner manufacturer.
what preceded him preemptively wrapping up, or way too early wrapping up his town hall. He just didn't feel like doing it anymore.
Yep.
He got pissed off that people were passing out. It was interrupting whatever he was doing.
I can't get into a flow.
Yeah.
Is there more of this? Let's play this, and then we'll lead into it.
Listen, I know it's kind of the simplistic and it's almost like a hopeful take from the left, but I think that she's right, because just think of like how petulant he is. So like the second person that passed out, he got annoyed by that. Instead of actually feeling humanity for this, he got annoyed where he was just like, they should turn on the AC. This is ridiculous. They're making people pass out.
Yeah. So they're wrapping it up here, and this is how they transition into what has been reported as 39 minutes straight of just
Okay, so it's 39 minutes. You got conservative media reporting that it's 30 minutes. You got left-wing media reporting that it's 40 minutes. Not a single one of them has reported that it's 39 minutes. This is why we do this, people.
standing around listening.
For the important minute discrepancies.
Open. That feels good.
It does.
I feel it right now. I don't know who's out there trying to get in, but you know what I feel? Doesn't that feel nice?
Yes.
And you don't even have, there's nothing like outdoors. You don't even have the cost of an air conditioner.
Right.
They have them in this beautiful factory. Anyway, go ahead, please.
Yep. Well, sir, do you want to play your song and then greet a few people, or do you want to? Well, you had said you wanted to close with a specific song. or
Okay,
we
let's
can
do a
take
couple of
two more
mine.
fast questions.
So, Justin, how about a couple of really beauties? And we'll sit down, relax. Let me just give you the bottom line. though.
Really beauties. How about, Justin, how about we get some really beauties? Dude, can we just say that if Joe Biden said we need some really beauties, that's all the right-wing media would be talking about.
We win
That's fucking woman.
Pennsylvania. We win this great Commonwealth.
Bottom line.
We are going to win the whole ball game. It's such an important place. And we relate. And we are up in the polls fairly nicely. Fairly nicely. But
In
it's
one.
really important.
You're in one. In one poll, you're up.
And we're going to turn this country around. It's the greatest movement in the history of our country, MAGA, Make America Great Again. When Biden would go on, he used to go on, say, we will stop MAGA.
It's
We
so
will stop.
sad.
You know, remember with the purple background, the pink and purple? He looked like the devil, right?
Does
But
anybody
she's
know
worse than
what
him,
he's
remember
talking
it.
about?
But they would say, we're going to stop MAGA. They go, MAGA means Make America Great,
Great again.
I mean, what are you going to stop? And we are indeed going to make America great again. America has never, we're a declining nation right now. We're a nation in decline. And we're not going to be in decline for long, let me tell you. Every country respected us 4 years ago. We were energy independent. We had everything. We had the greatest.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't know how much time I want to personally take on debunking his bullshit, because now I kind of get where the media fails on this, because it's so much. It's just every other fucking word out of his mouth is a lie. And if it's not a lie, it's just wrong. He is just lying about this.
Economy in the history.
Our economy is honestly really strong right now. I don't care by anybody's metrics. It's really strong. Okay. Yes, there are people still there, and that's always gonna happen. I'm sorry. It's just a fucking fact. There are always going to be some fucking poor people, as long as capitalism is the system that we fucking use. This idea that you can always just be like, well, you got it bad. Everybody else has it bad. Even if you don't have it bad, look, this person has it bad. It's so fucking disingenuous, and I hate it. I hate the fact that there's so many fucking poor people that listen to this and they're just like, yep, he's got my back. What the actual fuck what happened? Do you have mold in your trailer?
History of our country.
Fuck.
We're going to bring it back bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Go and vote. Let me hear that music, please. Let me
Everyone,
hear
let's
that
thank
music.
President
Loud,
Trump.
Nice and loud.
God
Okay.
bless you.
Now we got to turn that down now. Okay, we
Let's
got to turn
send
that
President
down.
Trump back to
We
the
got to
White
turn that
House.
music off. Okay, and we're replacing it with non-licensed music.
Smart.
And just give you a
Hey, that's actually pretty smart.
what's going on here. They did this for 39 minutes. He just stood on stage and listened. They played Ave Maria twice.
And Hallelujah, but the Shrek cover from Shrek 2, a woman singing it.
We're gonna just watch him
They played the Shrek one.
stand here, listen to music for a minute, and then let's cut to the other one where he's still listening to music.
This is not a loop, folks, by the way. We're going to let this run.
This is just the unlicensed music.
Oh my god. Okay, I totally want to speed up. I want to take footage of him just standing there and just do it, like, speed it up.
That we can.
How
we
has
can
nobody done that?
Actually, play without
No,
getting
it's
dinged.
much more upbeat. It's very maudlin.
Yeah, but there he goes. Now, see, he's directing music now. I think he was supposed to be doing questions at this point.
Yeah.
Someone may have yelled out, like, "What do you think of your daughter?" And he starts to do this thing.
Voluptuous.
All right, so let's cut to with this music. We will cut to. We've had problems with the music rights in the past, folks. So wait, just.
Yeah, you know what? YouTube, for some reason, is so inconsistent with that crap, where it's like you can play a minute of any song on any short, but you play even a few seconds of a copywritten song, they will just they'll demonetize you, and they'll copyright strike you. It's fucking insane.
Go to the
Hell, I had it for non-copywritten music. They did a copyright strike because I was using non-copywritten music. Trust me, I did my research on this one, and they still hit me. And then when I put it in for review, they were like, "Oh, our bad."
get his image up, and then you can play the music. I can even do this. I'll play the Rose or Lawrence Welk.
That the Rose is much more like what he
here we go.
was listening to.
All right, so this is just a different angle, and he's listening to the music.
That's a much better song to use. Oh, come on. No, up.
This is what's
Grandpa
going
gets
on.
his
There's just
favorite
different
song.
music. Christy Gnome's walking around. He's like, "What you doing?" And he's just standing there for
There's something wrong with him.
40 minutes.
All right, guys. I don't care how charitable you want to be. The fact that he did that for 40 minutes is awkward as fuck. I mean, personally, I get nervous with people just staring at me for like a few seconds too long. So I'm just like, oh, hands in my pockets. Okay. Don't make eye contact. Okay. Yeah. But I'm not running for president.
There's something wrong with him. Like something wrong with him more than that was wrong before, right? Like, like he's not all there.
Grandpa's slowing down.
Yeah.
He really does. No, seriously. You put him in a nursing home at like one of the what is it, like Community Day or whatever, where they they play like Duck Duck Goose and crap. He would look perfectly in place.
Can we play your favorite song, Grandpa? Yes, I'd like that very much.
I like that very much.
Oh my god.
Did you know that my favorite song was Hallelujah, but not the original version? I really, really like the one from that movie about the green ogre having his children. Wait a minute, wasn't that Shrek 3? I get my Shreks mixed up, but that's my favorite song was Hallelujah from the Shrek 2 soundtrack.
So apparently Christy Gnome was like shuffling on and off the stage frantically because they were supposed to be taking questions, and he was just like, I don't feel like it.
I don't want to take questions. I just want to listen to some music.
He totally gave up on the event. I mean, because think about this. Because the conservative media spin on this one was that they had to do this, that it was like an intermission to get everybody, out, get air in, and like kind of, no, this makes no sense. I'm sorry. Watching it almost in its, well, for how much of its totality that we are watching this in, this looks pretty bad.
What is he doing?
He's drumming.
I don't need to answer questions.
Oh my god, he really is just an awkward dude. What do I do with my hands?
People just want to see
I don't know what to do with my
See me
hands.
having fun,
But they like this music.
chilling out. Look it. I'll walk over here.
Noam's taking photos. He doesn't go into the crowd at all. You know, he's notoriously germaphobe.
Yeah,
so
wait, hold on. What's the...
he could have used this
I need a longer
opportunity
track list.
to do the Elizabeth Warren selfie line.
Yep,
but
there
that would
it
be,
is.
I don't want to touch him. I just want to be near him.
Well, I don't, maybe it's effective. I don't know for his people.
I mean, repeated stimulant use at that age of 78, I've seen can create some accelerating qualities in terms of someone's decline.
Or he just didn't want to, because that's the thing. Maybe he was stuck between a rock and a hard place there, where he's just like, I was booked for a half hour. If I leave now, that's all they'll report on. So I'll just stand here awkwardly listening to music, and everybody will love me. They'll talk about my stamina. I have the greatest stamina. I stood for 39 minutes.
Just saying, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, let's go to this as him. One of the reasons why, I don't know if he's nervous about this whole tariffs question. I mean, I should say.
Well, yeah, because his own business insiders are essentially going, yeah, can we not?
That there is a value to tariffs. I mean, I do not. When we hear things like free trade, what we're talking about is free trade for a specific. We allow capital to freely trade. We don't necessarily allow labor to freely trade. And I think there is value in industrial planning for our country to say we want to invest in certain industries, both by providing funds, loans, whatever it is, but also to put other countries' industries at a disadvantage if we're trying to grow a specific industry. That's what a tariff is for. Mm-hmm. Tariff isn't to collect money.
Mm-hmm. That's what taxes are for.
That's what taxes are for. A tariff is to use money.
And then that tax on that tariff creates more taxes on us.
As a way,
just by merit of making things more expensive.
Way of inhibiting the sales of one thing and increasing the sales of another. So in other words, I want to inhibit the sales of Chinese solar panels because I want to build a U.S. solar panel industry and to ramp up and get to a volume where prices can be lower. That's what happens with technology. The U.S. industry needs time. So I'm going to even the playing field or even tilt it towards the U.S. manufacturers by making Chinese solar panels that much more expensive. Somehow Donald Trump doesn't get this, and people keep asking him about it. This is, what is this? Isn't number 5? Yeah. Okay,
this is Maria
let's play this
Bartiromo.
with his, one of his biggest fans in the media.
Oh, yeah.
Maria Bartiromo is here.
Your thinking is the threat of a 200% tariff will stop them from taking the car. So you won't actually have to do it. So you're not going to.
What is up with her and Pirro? Like, really? Is it barbiturates? Is it alcohol? Because they always kind of talk a little bit like that. I'm not drunk. I'm just really upset.
Posy, I mean, listen to how he has never said these words. He has said 200% tariff over and over again. He has never said the threat is going to do anything. Yep. He's actually said the reason why you don't have to worry about childcare. He hasn't made the direct line, but when he's asked a question, this was like a month ago at the New York Economics Forum or whatever it was. What's your plan for childcare? And he goes, we're not going to have to worry about it because we're going to do a 200% tariff and we're going to collect some.
I mean, his quote was even more deranged because he started trailing off about my daughter and Vivek. They're great. They were great on this issue. And then he just trails off.
We can pay for whatever we want.
He doesn't even understand what a tariff does in that sense. And it's also the reason this, first of all, he canceled the CNBC interview today. I
hate when they try to make him out to be completely infantile. Like, that doesn't help. I'm sorry. Like, he does understand a little bit of this.
At the last minute. The polls have narrowed between Harris and Trump on who's better for the economy. And I think the campaign knows that it's not like Harris is selling a vision for the economy that, outside of the price gouging stuff, which I think is good, is that transformative. But the negatives for Trump are this tariff thing that people listen to this and they go, that sounds insane. and I think he's exacerbating it.
And that's why the business reporter is sitting here on Fox, basically walking him through what he's supposed to say.
Right.
And I don't even know if he even picks up on that.
And she's a partisan business reporter. That's why he canceled on CNBC, because they might have actually asked him a real question without coaching him.
Yeah, which is funny. For every time he talks about Kamala doing not doing interviews, blah blah blah. Then she goes on Fox News. He's like, "Yeah, Fox News, you're losing the plot, man. You lose it. No. Why is she doing on Fox News? Why would you even give her time? Like it's so obvious. Come on. Like, even if you're just a centrist American who is undecided, wouldn't you think that it's like, it's a little obvious that he's worried about being asked tough questions, and then he's also upset about not having the ammunition anymore.
Your thinking is the threat of a 200% tariff will stop them from taking the car. So you won't actually have to do it, so you're not going to actually push prices higher.
I never,
That's your
until
thinking.
now, I said 200. I'm using that just as a figure.
But you say 200 a lot.
Oh, I'll say 100, 200, I'll say 500.
Then why should anybody ever fucking listen to you? This is what drives me nuts about his supporters. They just ignore this shit. They just go, whatever. And then this is the part that really gets to me. They'll use those numbers in their fucking arguments like they're fucking facts.
I don't care. They're not going to bring cars into this country from Mexico and destroy what car companies we have left. But much more than that, I'm going to
Yeah. It doesn't matter what he says.
Yeah, I mean,
No, it's all bullshit.
I think he must. I think this is the reason why he was on CNBC. I canceled it. I mean, he must have gotten the word that like no one's buying this 200% tariff thing.
Right.
And so just make it like 200, 150, 500. It doesn't matter. I'm just talking.
He's just
Saying
lying.
things okay.
Because Matt made this point before the show. No one even asks about the wall anymore.
Yep.
We were going to have a wall and Mexico was going to pay for it. Walls brought it up at the debate. But it's just, he's a liar. He's an obvious liar, and he just says whatever he can.
10 years in, and we're still saying this like it's a fucking shocker.
And to get out of the conversation feeling like he
I'll
won.
make the twit tariff twice as high with that attitude.
And there's no carryover from one conversation to the next, and it could be within the span of 10 minutes. It doesn't matter.
He's going to outsource this to the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. They've done all the work. I didn't know what it was. I've looked at some of it good, some of it bad, but I don't need to know anything. New Dad says on the IM, Chinese solar panels are so cheap already, there's no point in leveraging tariffs on them. It will only slow down adoption. It makes more sense for the government to cultivate industries producing the peripherals and the power control equipment that solar systems also require, which are industries where we already have substantial manufacturing here, in my opinion. You may be case, I was just using that as an example.
Right. But Biden did make an effort to do that. I mean, again, it's through this like hawkish China competitive angle, but the CHIPS Act did
it's good.
invest in domestic
Why would you say that like it's a bad thing?
manufacturing on that front.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's the thing is a lot of the stuff like they're Democrats already on it.
Yeah, right, and I think I think it's reflective. Under Biden, we added hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs.
Yes. Maybe give him some credit for that instead of saying all this shit like it's just a passive like it's a passive thing that we can just throw out and not even use for, giving the Democrats some credit for, what they've done on the economy. But
Some of the numbers, it's hard to say because the
Biden bad. I get it.
campaign's advertising or the administration's advertising a bigger number than some experts say. But we lost manufacturing jobs under Trump, added them under Biden. That's just a cold, hard fact.
Yeah.
And that's not even like calculating COVID. I mean, there was a concerted effort by the Biden administration to do industrial planning.
Yeah.
And manufacturing jobs have increased exponentially.
The fact that they don't tout the Build Back Better bill as like this monumental piece of legislation that it was.
Let's turn to, let's just do this Coachella story for a moment,
All
and then
right.
we'll get back to sort of like Trump's intense ranting. Do we also have that Youngkin thing? All right, so after we play number 6, I want to play that Youngkin thing where he's addressing it.
Uh-oh.
But here is a clip of that somebody took that was promoted by Republicans against Trump on Twitter of folks stranded in the desert, I guess.
This is perfect because I was going to just use the footage that was going around on Twitter. I prefer this much better.
Coachella it takes place where in California?
It's in Palm Springs, which the record for that part of the country was in October was just broken for temperature. It was 117 2 weeks ago in early October.
It's good. You lose weight.
The highest ever recorded.
He did say that.
He said that.
He literally said that. We'll lose weight. We'll lose about 5 pounds. We'll all look svelte.
In Pennsylvania. But like, this is an outdoor venue in the desert.
So this was Saturday.
Why did he even do this? Like, why was he in California? This makes no sense.
And apparently there was a...
Is this because I heard a theory, and sorry to pause, I know, but I heard a theory that he wasn't able to sell as many tickets to the events in the swing states because he's already hit so many, and he's getting depressed by seeing the empty seats, so he's going and he's essentially doing a tour to other venues just because he wants to see more people, knowing damn well he's going to lose these states.
Trump supporter from Las Vegas who showed up with a ton of weapons because...
it's a Trump rally.
It's a Trump rally, and why wouldn't you?
America.
Yeah, but the fact that the right-wing media was just like, another attempt, instead of just reporting it for what it was. No, he was just a Republican who was using his Second Amendment rights, guys, to carry and conceal. Even though that's not technically part of it, but you know what I mean.
Some people are trying to make it like they were going to be a victim of a third assassination attempt.
I've got bad news for Trump. If he wants to say that anytime someone comes armed to his rally, that could constitute an assassination attempt, that means
every rally.
His events.
So Trump left the stage after a 90-minute address. And apparently there had been 20 buses that took them out to this site and only 3 on the way back because you don't need them there as quick. You can save money. It's about the economy.
You've already got the money by that point.
Here is...
Oh, and then the conspiracy theories about how because it was in liberal California that the locality and the governor and all them were... They're just like, yeah, make sure that they don't get those buses.
A stranded Coachella, or I guess a Trump Coachella, Trumpella goer, basically just, I don't know if they were streaming this live or what.
This looks identical to the Omaha one from 4 years ago.
This isn't normal. Apparently the buses are no longer coming, or at least there used to be like 20 buses when we were being brought here, but now there's only like 3 buses operating, and it's an absolute...
He says it tastes like water.
It's just chaos. Absolute chaos. All of us are stranded here. Everyone's stranded here.
All right, guys. What is that term? Schadenfreude? Well, let's sit here and have us a nice little bite of Schadenfreude.
I mean, he only cared about getting them to the rally,
Yep.
but not getting them back.
Yep.
Right?
He wanted his photo ops, and he got it. Boy, did he.
They didn't have much left.
I can't wait for the ad where it's like, you think he cares for you? This is his supporters. Here you go. Man.
Something
I guess maybe
went wrong.
The rally ended early and they didn't pay for him to come back soon enough. I don't know. How do you F that?
Well, if you're cheap, but
Look at this.
this is barely 5 miles from the parking lot.
5 miles from the parking lot? So there's no even like walking option?
It's a warm desert night. You'll be fine. Lose weight.
No, actually, I know that I'm not even from the desert. Been there, and I can tell you, it gets fucking cold. Quick.
There's supposed to be like 20 buses here. And there's
All those MAGA hats in the dark.
I mean, come on, wait a minute. Haven't any of you played Breath of the Wild and what is it, Gerudo? Come on.
Exactly.
It's exactly how it works. Hot in the daytime. All right, you get that perfect time where it's like you don't have to swap the clothes, but then, then it gets cold, and then you got to go to your cold clothes.
everyone's starting to freak out.
Zelda, guys, come on.
Can you imagine a
People
worse
that go
place to
down
be
the
that's surrounded by
street.
like 100 guys in MAGA hats getting
I don't know
increasingly
how long.
frustrated?
I mean, look, I don't
Well, that one guy had a Jesus T-shirt on. I mean, come on. Won't your faith reward you?
pretend to know this area. I guess it's adjacent to Palm Springs. But it doesn't seem like there's a ton of infrastructure.
No, I don't imagine.
Somebody, and they've been running us around through all the different streets.
Incidentally, we also rented out the porta potties
go
to ourselves here,
and then
so
going west,
we made
and
a
then
killing.
east again, and then going
Killing.
west, and it's-
All right, pause it. All right, we don't need to see any more of this. Incidentally,
No, I want to see it all. Fuck. See, this is the problem. I actually, you know what? I'll have to find this.
The campaign manager of the Trump campaign, $23 million he's made in the past 2 years.
Really?
That's what was reported, something like that, where he's got consulting firms that have been
Oh,
working.
of
I mean, it's
course.
not all net profit, and plus the taxes.
Which is interesting
That's just personal take.
because there was a report this morning in the New York Times about how essentially Donald Trump has the most skeleton campaign staff possible. While Kamala Harris has hundreds of people working on her campaign in terms of payroll. And last election, he had hundreds as well. He only has 11 people on the payroll for his official campaign committee.
That just seems bizarre.
Because this is what we've been trying to say. They are using this as a fundraising mechanism for his legal bills, for all this other stuff that he wants to do, and then he has these scams that he's putting out. Like they're taking the money, and maybe there will be investigation later. My prediction is that they're taking the money out of these campaign committees or PACs, and it's going towards his legal bills, and they're shorter on money than their fundraising numbers would indicate.
Just buy a watch.
Yeah. That's why he's doing the Bibles, the watches. Think about it.
$100,000 watch worth about $15.
Yep.
And coincidentally, it's all Saudi emirs who buy it. I don't know why.
So
There's something about the Saudis they love.
got
Really
great
popular in the
taste.
Gulf
Yes.
states.
Great taste.
Viktor Orban bought 17 of these. All right, let's play this last clip. Let's play 6, and then we'll play 6, and then we'll get to the Israel Gaza stuff after the break. Which I know it's the fun half, and we're starting off in a rather depressing way. But
Yeah, I hate to say this, guys, but you really should have done this one in the fun half because this is kind of a fun story.
well, maybe we'll get to it here. Let's.
I'm having a good
here's
time.
Donald
Hope you guys are.
I don't. Look, I don't know if
Man, beard's itchy today.
Donald Trump will actually do this or not. But understand, this is what his voters want. There is a significant cohort of his voters want this. And, part of the sense is that, like, you've got all these sort of like never Trumper or now not Trumper Republicans who are hoping that Trump goes away, that Harris beats him bad enough that the Republicans have a reinterpret.
Sorry, I have really bad allergies today. I apologize for any of the sniffling or my little voice problem here. Yeah.
A re-understanding of what they need to do to win in the future. And again, this is why there's no teaching the Democrats a lesson. There's no teaching the Republicans a lesson. That's not the way it works. The reason why Republicans are not going to change is because the vast majority of their voters, there's really, not a huge distinction between their base and their not their base, right? The vast majority of Republican voters want what Trump is promising here. And if they don't get it from Trump, they're going to want it from somebody else in the future. There's no Jeff Flake's not going to make a comeback with the Republicans after Donald Trump exit either the.
No, I think that one of the things that's being missed in this election cycle is almost the building of the purple party, which nobody's acknowledging. They're not acknowledging how so many disenfranchised Republicans have come to the Democratic side, and now they are forming that party, which is pushing out the far left. And now it's kind of like, we're going to have a more progressive left party. Like, for everybody that's had the appetite for third party politics, we're getting to the point where instead of having 3 parties, we're about to have 4, because each wing, like the extreme wings, are going to break off, and you're going to have a centrist division of the Democrats, a centrist division of the Republicans. Maybe they form one party to create a purple party, but that's how I've been seeing it.
The political arena or just the worldly arena. Here is him with Bartiromo, and I think she's like also going, "You don't mean specifically?" Well, yeah, sure I do.
Let's remember, you've got 50,000 Chinese nationals in this country in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You have people on the terrorist watch list, 350 in the last couple of years. You got, like you said, 13,000 murderers and 15,000 rapists.
Right.
What are you expecting? Joe Biden said he doesn't think it's going to be a peaceful election day.
Well, he doesn't have any idea what's happening in all fairness. He spends most of his day sleeping. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within. Not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country.
I'm sorry. That whole Sleepy Joe thing, like, dude, you don't think that guy is up at the ass crack at dawn?
The towns, the villages, they're being inundated.
He's probably asleep by 3 o'clock, though. I will give you that.
I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
Let's
Okay. So let's just be clear here, right? She lists off immigrants and foreign nationals, and he says, well, they're a problem, but they're not the real problem. The real problem is the radical leftists. I don't know how you can interpret that any other way, but let's watch Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, the future of the Republican Party, right? So Youngkin is the one who is going to be the new face of the Republican Party. He was so successful on his parents' rights tour.
You guys said the same thing about DeSantis. Can we stop with that?
Which was really just a
let that happen organically, okay?
Massive anti-trans program, essentially, and COVID denial tour, I guess. But here is Glenn Youngkin on with Jake Tapper, and Tapper apparently plays that clip for Youngkin, reads the transcript, and here is Youngkin's interpretation.
Had senior people from our national security apparatus say that there's 15,000 violent felons in the United States. They have no idea where they are. That is what I believe the president is referring to. I don't think that he's referring to elected people in America. But I'm
literally reading his quotes. I'm literally reading his quotes to you, and I played them.
This is the problem with what we're dealing with. The fact that more people don't do what Jack Tapper's doing right here is part of the fucking problem. And then Glenn Youngkin going, yeah, well, you can't take him at his word.
Earlier, so you could hear that they were not made up by me. He's literally talking about, quote, radical left lunatics. And then one of those lunatics he mentioned was Congressman Adam Schiff. Criminals should be locked up. Migrants who are in this country illegally, who are violent, should be locked up and deported. I grant you all of that, and I am not denying that it's happening at all.
So,
Jake, but I'm talking about Donald Trump saying that he wants to use the National Guard and the military to go after the left. That's what he's saying.
I don't believe that's what he's saying. But listen, you and I are going to argue about that. But I would suggest if you would also.
I played the quote and I read it to you.
If you would also balance
you can wish that he weren't saying that, but that's what he's saying.
Jake, all the time, people are taking little snippets of context.
Dude, I shouldn't be the one that feels like he got punched in the head when I have to hear this shit. These guys need to be punched in the head. Like, this shit's fucked up.
And turning it into a big narrative.
Like, at what point do we just go, what's the matter with you?
I think exactly what he's concerned about, because I've heard him express it before, are the number of national security risks, violent criminals, and folks who are coming into this country where we don't know where they are, that are committing crimes and put people's safety at risk. And I do think that on the same balance, I think you should cover the fact that over the course of the last 3.5 years, there has been an unprecedented and unrestrained flow across our border, and it has put Americans' lives.
There hasn't been. And you guys keep doing this.
And so
I'm so sick of the fucking immigration issue only becoming an issue every 4 years.
So much of our livelihood at jeopardy. And I think that's a very important, clear reality that we have to face. You know, one of the things that's happened in Virginia is
He's
that
just
on
letting
Friday,
him like filibuster now.
The Justice Department sued Virginia.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. Decorum can only go so far.
Yeah, for simply doing.
At some point, one of these motherfuckers needs to just snap and go, listen, I'm done with you. I'm not listening to this. We're not having you on anymore. If all you're going to do is filibuster and lie, we're not doing that. We're not in the business of broadcasting actual fake news. So goodbye, Glenn.
Doing a very basic, constitutionally.
Let me ask you about that.
Constitutionally authorized step, which is to make sure that non-citizens aren't on our voter roll.
Yeah, let me ask you about that, because I want to bring, because people might not be aware of it, so I want to give it. But before I do that, I just want to note.
You don't have to explain yourself, Jake.
I was just reading you his quotes, and he was not talking about dangerous migrants in those quotes. Later, there were other quotes about those migrants, and he was saying that people shouldn't even, children shouldn't even be sending their kids to school with the kids of migrants. But you don't want to accept those quotes. Let's move on to this other thing, because this is important.
I mean, go on, Sam. But like, it's just what Trump was repeating there is kind of just Project 2025, and that's what scares them, I think, a little bit. The purging of these radical leftists from the country. But Trump is here, like, he means.
So where are we all going then, guys? Like, you know that shit. I put myself out there in public, so I know I'm on that list.
The government. He means the government in that instance, which is a key tenet of Project 2025.
Yes, and also, you know, one of the
unless they do something where it's like, as long as you have under 1,000 YouTube subscribers, then you're okay. Then I'm like, oh.
Questions you could ask is,
which help me get to that 1,000. I want to be on that list.
What's this stuff about using the military?
I guess.
Right.
Don't we have something called Posy Comatus in this country? But, you know, I think, like, to a certain extent, again, the press is not even still, it's gotten better, but they still don't know how to react to non-Trump people lying to their faces. The media has not caught up with this phenomenon. In some ways, I don't know if they care or what. I mean, put that aside. They do not know how to deal.
For anybody that was like me and didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, Posy Comatus Act is a United States federal law signed on June 18th, 1878 by President Rutherford B. Hayes that limits the powers of the federal government in use of federal military personnel to enforce domestic policies within the domestic United States.
With it. And, you know, at the very least, we've seen two examples today. New York Times.
So for anybody that's ever asking, why don't they just send the National Guard to Chicago?
You know, refusing to sort of like in making a point of like, you're not answering the question. Let's just be clear of that. After you've gotten 4 chances at it, Tapper does the same thing. But at one point, there should be like, if you know they're lying to you, what? You should be consistently bringing this up. Like,
yes.
How can
decorum goes out the door the more he lies? Like, by the end of that, he should have just been like, you're lying. You're lying and you're not invited back on this program. It's so fucking sick.
Listen,
let's move on to this other thing.
Reality.
Yeah, let's move on to the other thing. Yeah.
You and I disagree on whether at 1:04
Unreal.
p.m. in the Eastern in the afternoon, whether it's daytime or nighttime. We disagree on that. You say it's nighttime. I say it's daytime.
Yeah.
let's go on to another topic that you can espouse on. I mean, at one point you have to say, like, why should anything you say now have any credibility when you so clearly are lying about this other thing?
It's because it's all a little bit of a choreographed. I mean, Youngkin knows he's.
How else are we going to fill the show?
Yeah, Youngkin knows he's gonna. There's a little bit of a symbiotic relationship too, where they understand that they're going to be criticized on this particular thing, and they have to run cover for Trump, who they know is insane. But it's all about like the media getting their licks in, but not really fundamentally going after the Republican Party project or conservatism more broadly.
This was going on back when Paul Ryan was talking about his dumb plans to, that austerity was going to help people, or telling, fabricated stories about some kid in school in Wisconsin who didn't want to get a free lunch because he preferred to have a brown bag lunch. Mm-hmm. All made up. The media at that, back then wouldn't even question it. But we're in a different era. Hopefully, maybe there'll be some improvement. I doubt.
No. I mean, look at the way that Jake Tapper just like was skating around it. And no, this is part of the problem. And this is why like they continue to use illegal immigrants as the boogeyman that, they try to every fucking 4 years. I know that it's definitely losing its luster with the younger generations because a lot of us understand how our economy works, and we have also, grown up with immigrants in our lives. This is the difference between the whole like boomer generation that's still trying to hold on to this. There's gay, trans, what's that? Oh, I too many brown people, not enough whites. Ugh. Sorry, I mean. I take some shit from boomers where they're like, oh, keep talking shit about boomers. It's like, you know what? Then fucking stand up to your generation more and start like putting them in their place. It's like your silence is technically complicity. That's part of the fucking problem. Sorry that millennials tend to have more balls on this, where it's like, nah, if we hear something that really is disagreeable, more than likely we're going to stand up for, the better position. But you know what? I'm only speaking for myself and what I can. And I just, trust me, I noticed that my voice cracked. As I said, I got a little bit of allergies, but oh boy. Well, that's a fun segment. Again, I feel like that should have been part, like the fun half. But hey, whatever. I don't run the Majority Report. I just listen and react. So... but speaking of, if you guys do enjoy this content, I enjoy covering it. I enjoy when MR can really kind of emphasize a story, because this one specifically I was really worried about. I was totally planning on actually pulling up some like Kyle Kalinske clips and some of like the leftist clips about this, because I felt like they were being very unfair. Specifically, I know I called out Pondering Politics earlier. I just kind of feel like they waited until the very end to kind of just pepper in like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, there were some people that passed out, but that's not really a big deal. It's like, come on, guys, let's not do the thing that the right wing does. Let's just report the news, even if it doesn't make it as funny or as, favorable for us. Like, just news, okay? And also, because this was just news, like the news itself did not need, like you didn't need to elaborate on anything. You could just report it for everything that it was, and it was still just as bad. So, but I understand people only got so much time in their day. So, but anyway, if you enjoyed this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Really appreciate you guys checking out my channel. I sincerely mean it. So, but yeah, that being said, see you in the next one.